Jack and the Beanstalk. Once upon a time, there was a poor woman who lived in a humble cottage in the countryside with her only son, whose name was Jack. They owned a cow that gave more milk than any other cow in the neighborhood, and they made butter and cheese with the extra milk and sold it at the market nearby. But one day, the cow went dry, and there was no milk to make butter and cheese. There was not even milk for them to drink. They eat less and less every day, but before long they had almost nothing left to eat, and no money to buy food. Jack was still too young to work, and his mother had fallen ill. Jack's mother called him to her bedside. "I am too weak to go out myself, Jack. So you must take the cow to the market and sell her there for as much money as you can." "Yes, Mother." Jack liked going to market, but he was sad that they would have to sell the cow. He set out walking slowly and had gone about half the way when an old man stopped him. "Hello, do you want to sell that cow? I will buy her from you in exchange for these magic beans." The beans, which were all different colors, were very beautiful, and the old man had said they were magic. So Jack gave him the cow and ran home with the beans. "Look, Mother, what I've got!" he cried as he hurried into her room. But his mother was furious when she saw that he had come home without any money for the cow. "What? You have sold our good cow for these worthless beans?" And she threw them out of the window. That evening, Jack and his mother ate their last crust of bread and went to bed very sadly, for they knew that there was nothing left for breakfast. Jack woke up early the next morning, still hungry. He was so hungry, in fact, that he jumped out of bed and went into the garden to look for something to eat. To his amazement, he saw that the magic beans had grown into a huge plant. It stretched right up over the roof and disappeared into the sky. The stems of the plant were so thickly twisted that he could climb up them. As if they were the rungs of a ladder, he began to pull himself up higher and higher, and higher and higher still. At last he reached the top of the beanstalk. In front of him was the white road, which led to a great castle far in the distance. There was no one to be seen, so he started to walk along the road. Maybe someone at the castle would give him something to eat. In any case, it would certainly be an adventure. He was hot and tired and hungrier than ever by the time he reached the castle. Its great gate was shut, but Jack knocked on it loudly. After a while, it was opened by a huge, ugly old woman who had only one eye in the middle of her forehead. "Oh," she cried, "I need a boy just like you to clean out for me every day. Come in, quickly, come in and hide, or my husband will see you and eat you up." Frightened, Jack hurried inside at once and told the giantess that he would become her servant in exchange for something to eat. She gave him a piece of bread and a glass of buttermilk. But while he was drinking it, in the castle, the walls began to shake with heavy tread, and Jack could hear the giant coming closer. "Quick, quick, hide behind the cupboard," whispered the giantess, and Jack slipped out of sight as a giant stepped into the room shouting, "Ho ba 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 ha ba ba, see fi la fa fa, I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread. Fee-fi-fa. Nonsense, it's only a nice young elephant that I cooked for your breakfast. Sit down and eat it while it's hot. So the giant sat down to eat his breakfast and forgot all about the Englishman, who stood watching him from behind the cupboard. When he had finished, he called out, "Wife, bring me my magic hen. I want to see some new golden eggs." Jack could hardly believe his eyes when he saw what happened next. The giantess brought in the little brown hen and put it on the table in front of her husband. "You lay," the giant commanded, and blip, 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 she immediately laid 1, 2, and 3 golden eggs. The giant put the eggs into his pockets. Then he settled back in his chair and soon was snoring so loudly that the castle walls shook with the noise. Jack crept out from behind the cupboard, snatched up the magic hen, and ran out of the castle as fast as his legs could carry him, with the hen tucked under his arm. He climbed quickly down the beanstalk and hurried into the cottage up to his mother's room. She was very happy to see him again. She cried with joy, and then she cried some more, because now they would have as many golden eggs as they wanted, and never would be poor again. But Jack soon began to long for another adventure. So one morning, he set out again up the beanstalk. Higher, higher, higher until he reached the top. This time, he has dyed his hair black, and the giantess did not recognize him. "Oh, you're just the boy to help me clean out the kitchen. Run and chase the mice away. Hurry inside. Or my husband sees you, he will surely eat you up." Jack just had time to dive behind the woodpile as the giant came down from his torrent, shouting, "Fee-fi-hey-fa-ha-ha-ha! I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread." "You stupid old giant! It's only a fat sow which I grilled for you on this pit. Sit down and eat it up quickly before it gets cold." The giant was very pleased, for after Englishman, grilled pork was his favorite dish. By the end of the meal, he felt so cheerful that he called out to his wife, "Woman, bring me my magic harp." The giantess brought in a beautiful harp, inlaid with rubies and diamonds, which he had stolen from the fairies many years before. "Play, harp, play," he said, and the harp played a soft tune about green mountains and the sea. No, play something more merrier than that." Soon the harp played a happy tune, which children use to dance. "Now, play me a lullaby now." The harp played a sweet lullaby, and soon the giant was fast asleep. Then Jack crept out from behind the woodpile and picked up the harp, intending to run away with it. But as he seized it, it began to shrink. "Master, master!" and its strings jangled together and filled the castle with noise. The giant woke up to see Jack running out the door with the harp. He got up with a roar and lumbered after him, along the road that led to the beanstalk. The earth shook with its heavy tread, and Jack could tell that he was getting closer all the time. He was very frightened, but he clutched the harp closer and ran as fast as he could. At last he reached the beanstalk and began climbing down it as fast as he could. With the harp under his arm, he could hear the giant's shouts and feel the beanstalk swaying and shaking under his feet. Jack's mother was out in the yard, and he shouted to her halfway down the beanstalk, "Quick, Mother, bring me an axe!" She ran to the woodshed and came back with the biggest axe she could find. Jack leaped to the ground, thrust the harp into her arm, and began hacking away at the beanstalk with all his might. "Mother, Mother, stand clear!" The beanstalk began to crack and sway from side to side as the giant climbed nearer. Then Jack slashed through the last stem and sprang aside just in time as the beanstalk came crashing down, bringing with it the giant, who hit the ground with such a thud that he was killed at once. Jack had had enough adventures to last him for the rest of his life. He and his mother lived happily ever after. The end.